I'm going to need some more people to go ahead and pick this book up so that we can talk about it. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Chris and today's video is a book review. Yes, I would like to bring them back to the channel. I'm hoping for one per month, being either the book of the month that I read in the previous month or just like an indie read that I've had a great time with. And we're going to be starting the bringing back of reviews with the erstwhile Tyler Kyle by Steve Hugh Westenra. This is a book that I had a fantastic time with. It was like a perfect mixture of campy, queer, and creepy all rolled into one. This is a queer horror comedy, and I think it hits all those points exactly the way that it planned to. Before we jump into the review, make sure you check the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord, should you want to come along for the ride. I will also say this review is available in written form over on Before We Go blog, which I'll also have linked down below if you prefer reading your reviews in that format. So, jumping into the book itself, the erstwhile Tyler Kyle is a horror comedy blend, which is just what the doctor ordered for me personally this past spooky season. We start our story with main character Tyler Kyle, who has just arrived on Echo Island. He is seeking information about his movie star, arguably B-grade movie star, bombshell mother who abandoned him about 18 years ago. He is also running away from his own personal turmoil and crisis of identity, having just kissed his best friend and co-host of his YouTube channel Discovery Bang. He doesn't really know what it means having made out with him drunkenly in a hot tub, and feeling all sorts of ways and not knowing if that is reciprocated. It's probably a perfect time to go to a creepy island to discover what happened to your missing mother. When we get to Echo Island, the reception isn't necessarily warm. There are some pretty weird things happening there. It's fairly desolate. The entire island is full of queer people, as it's an old queer conversion camp. It's all added to the atmosphere of it. There's like desolate diners, even though it's sort of like clubby. There's like a little hotel where it's sort of run down, and we find out it's not all that, put together as we go through the book, and it was just a really cool setting to be in. So the reception not being exactly warm, coupled with Tyler's being hung up on the fact that he drunkenly made out with said best friend and he doesn't really know what that means, makes for an interesting headspace when he gets there. We definitely get to experience Tyler as he is running through a lot of emotions. We get things like journal entries, which really add to that sort of inner dialogue that is happening while he's trying to put the bigger mystery of his mother together. And it just was so good. Tyler Kyle is very much torn up in this notion of does he or does he not love me back, or does he not have feelings for me, while throwing himself headfirst into the mystery of not only his mother but the island itself. As he gets there, as he starts talking to more and more people, the island becomes a little bit more mysterious and a little bit more creepy, and the feeling of having to leave this place but also protect his best friend Josh from just never setting foot on this island becomes more and more relevant, and the atmosphere just builds from there. The people here are weird and secretive, and even when they try to help, things just get a little bit funky. This place, admittedly, however, would be perfect for Discovery Bang, the YouTube channel that he shares with said best friend Josh, but he really, really needs Josh to stay away until he really, really needs Josh to come and save him. Full of conflicted feelings, complicated relationship dynamics, and a longing for human connection in a dark and supernatural world, Tyler is going to need more than his quick wit to get him off this island alive. I hope I've sold the plot somewhat. I think I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I want to go into what I really enjoyed about the erstwhile Tyler Kyle as a book and a reading experience. There was a lot about this story that I really enjoyed, first being the witty and sharp prose. It was quite nostalgic to me, and I'll get to that in a second. I loved the genre blend, so I know that Steve likes to dabble in weird, and I think that really comes across here. But the blend of horror, mystery, and comedy in an atmospheric setting really did work well for me, and the setting itself toyed with my perception of where we were, and I also really enjoyed the thematics and the exploration of queer identities. I think that the author has done a great job of packing a punch in a 500-page standalone, and it just left me wanting more and more of his writing. So I'll start with the prose and the pacing of the book. It, like I said, it gave me that hit of nostalgia as we discovered like journal entries which were written by Tyler Kyle as he's trying to unpack some things for himself in his head. He is on the verge of discovering his authentic self and dealing with some inner and outer demons now on this island. This, coupled with his self deprecating humor, witty and not always appreciated remarks to the side characters, and his ability to bounce off one person or another, made him a joy to follow, but also reminded me a lot of myself in my own self discovery journey, which is probably why this book meant so much to me. Tyler is written in a way that felt like home to me. And a lot of that has to do with being like for like in terms of identity and that discovery. But the rest of the story I felt really played off his journey as he was going through that self discovery. I didn't think that there was a sentence or a paragraph in the story that didn't fit or felt out of place. It all just worked quite well together, in my opinion. The next praise is the genre blend. Now, it's no secret that I do love a genre blend myself, but I think the amount of genres within like the horror category was really well done. We went into the book, like I said, knowing that Steve loves a bit of weird, and I think that the erstwhile Tyler Kyle does not disappoint in that while throwing plenty of other things at us. There was quite a few what the fuck moments that happened in this book, coupled with a deeper understanding of our characters, which I thought was fantastic. Like they're having these moments themselves, and we're getting to see that exploration of these WTF moments that come through the book. Throw in a couple of monsters that were horrific to witness on the page. There was a scene in this book where I was like doing the, oh, these ones, like, when you watch a scary movie and you don't know if you want to see on the page, but there was one scene in this book where I can't go into details because it gives too many spoilers away. And I was just like, it got me in the heebie-jeebies, which I think was the point there. We had a drop of psychological turmoil and also personal turmoil while he's going through his self-discovery, and a heck of a lot of witty one-liners, and you've got yourself a pretty darn good book. The setting of Echo Island itself as well, although arguably tropey for a horror story, I would say, in terms of like the abandoned or the desolate island setting, was really atmospheric and done very well. It was visual, it was bold. I felt like I was there on the island, and it's a setting that I quite like personally, so that didn't bother me at all. Some of the world building elements that we have in the book really did play up the creepy feeling of being trapped in a place where you really don't want to be holed up for too long. We had things like large traps that were just laid out that people could wander into for the bears. We had feral and wild dogs, and we learn about the dog days and why they're there, and the big hunting trip that happens for these dogs at the end of, I don't know whether it was a month or a cycle, but it was called the dog days, and it happens once a year. We had poisonous plants literally everywhere, and we discover them, unfortunately for Tyler Kyle, as he walks through a bunch of them, and that was unpleasant. And we also have like island residents turning into something that I cannot mention to you, but it has to do with that scene that I mentioned earlier. You'll just have to read it to find out. Finally, I want to say that this book was very entertaining for the elements that I have mentioned, but it also goes into some deeper thematic. So it's very much a deeply thematic book when it comes to identity. Steve, being a queer trans author, he's put his heart and soul into these thematics, and it shows in the book while he's presenting them in an enjoyable way. Tyler, our main character, is going through a personal emotional hell, coming to terms with his own feelings of queerness and his ability to be loved by others, and not knowing where his self-worth is tied up in that. At the moment we see him go through this journey where his self-worth is really tied up in the approval of others, and having had a social media presence and gaining the likes and the follows and really thriving off that sort of community, and not knowing where he fits in his own journey was quite interesting to watch unfold. Echo Island is also an old gay conversion therapy camp, which I think I mentioned earlier, and nearly everyone on the island has some form of identity within the rainbow. And this, we see it both help and hinder Tyler as he goes through self acceptance and tries to put things into place for himself. I thought these particular elements, while yes, they were on the page and they were in your face, they were cleverly done. And I mentioned earlier, it really made me think of my own experience as a queer trans man. out in the world. So I had a personal connection to this story as well. I think this book is fantastic. I implore more people to go out and pick it up, if not for the thematics and just for the sheer enjoyment and weird and crazy story that Tyler Kyle is going through. I can't wait to see what Steve Hugh Westerner does next. A book cover has just been revealed for the next story coming from the author, so I'll pop that one up here. I think it's called So Sing the Barrows. Don't quote me on that, but the cover will be up there because I can't wait to read it. I've already put my ARC form through for that next one. Have you read this one? Are you interested in reading it? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.